Today, I'll take us on a journey from the abacus to artificial intelligence, tracing the technologies that have reshaped how people work, trade, and compete. This is more than a timeline of inventions. It's a look at how each major shift changed business practices, created new opportunities, and demanded new ways of thinking. Most importantly, understanding this evolution helps us recognize that technology is not separate from business strategy. It continually changes the way organizations operate, and it shapes what business leaders must be prepared to do next. Technology history matters because business change rarely happens in isolation. From ancient trade routes to today's digital economy, major shifts have been enabled by breakthroughs that change how people connect, produce, and compete. The key lesson is that technology creates both disruption and opportunity. By studying these patterns, we can anticipate change before it arrives, recognize possibilities others may miss, make smarter investments in innovation, and adapt our organizational strategy proactively. History does not predict the future exactly, but it gives us a stronger framework for preparing for what comes next. This chapter begins with a simple idea. Commerce scales when people can record, calculate, and exchange value reliably. Around 3000 BCE, writing, especially cuneiform tablets in Mesopotamia, created the first business records for grain, livestock, and debts. By roughly 2700 BCE, the abacus helped traders manage arithmetic across Asia and the Middle East. Then, around 600 BCE, coinage standardized currency, replacing barter and lowering the friction of transactions. Together, these tools transformed trade from informal exchange into a system that could support growing, more distant economies. Chapter 2 examines the Industrial Revolution, from roughly 1760 to 1900, and the profound changes it brought to business. The defining shift was from craft-based workshops to factory-based mass production. Machines began replacing human muscle at scale, allowing businesses to produce more goods and reach national and eventually global markets. The steam engine was central to this transformation, and it is credited with multiplying human productivity by 10 times within a single generation. This was not simply a technological upgrade. It fundamentally reshaped how production and business operated. This chapter marks the transition into modern business, driven by three powerful developments. Electrification transformed factories by enabling continuous, around-the-clock production and significantly lowering manufacturing costs. In 1913, Ford's moving assembly line pushed that transformation further, reducing Model T production time from 12 hours to just 93 minutes. Together, electricity and standardized operations created the foundations of modern manufacturing. Then, during the 1920s through the 1940s, radio and broadcast media introduced mass marketing, giving brands the ability to reach millions of people at the same time. Chapter 4 traces the moment when computing transformed data from a byproduct of business into a strategic resource. First came mainframes in the 1950s and 60s, providing large corporations, banks, and governments with centralized tools for payroll, accounting, and inventory. Then, between 1975 and 1985, Apple and Microsoft brought computing power to individual desks, making data management accessible to small businesses. Finally, VisiCalc introduced spreadsheets in 1979, replacing manual ledgers and making financial modeling practical for everyday business managers. This chapter traces how the Internet transformed the way businesses connect with markets. In 1991, the World Wide Web went public, creating digital storefronts accessible to any business with a browser. From 1994 to 1999, the dot-com boom introduced companies such as Amazon, eBay, and Google, reshaping retail, auctions, and information discovery. During the 2000s, broadband made e-commerce, online banking, and software-as-a-service practical at scale. Then, in 2007, the iPhone launched the mobile era, putting businesses within reach of customers almost anywhere at any time. This chapter examines a major shift in the 2010s. Technology stopped being merely a tool for business and became the business itself. Platform companies create value by connecting buyers and sellers, without owning the traditional assets involved, such as inventory, cars, or hotel rooms. Three ideas explain their power. Network effects, where each new user increases a platform's value. Data monetization, which turns user behavior into a core asset. And near zero marginal cost, allowing digital services to scale far more efficiently than physical expansion. The numbers reveal how dramatically technology has reshaped business in just one generation. Global e-commerce reached $5.8 trillion in annual retail sales in 2023, compared with nearly zero in 1993. Today, 5.4 billion people are connected to the digital economy, while 90% of all data in human history was generated within the last 2 years alone. Looking ahead, AI could add a projected $4.4 trillion in annual economic value by 2030. Digital transformation is no longer a trend. It is the operating environment for modern business. The next wave of business technology is being shaped by four connective forces. Automation, especially robotic process automation, takes on repetitive work, so people can focus on higher value decisions. Generative AI is changing how organizations create content, serve customers, write code, and analyze strategy. Cloud computing makes powerful, enterprise-grade infrastructure available on demand without requiring businesses to own the hardware. And blockchain, along with Web3, aims to reduce intermediaries through decentralized records, with potential applications in finance, supply chains, and contracts. Together, these technologies are redefining how work gets done. The central lesson is clear. Technology creates competitive advantage for organizations willing to recognize change and act early. Every era produces new winners and losers, so leaders must adapt or risk losing market position. Today, that means investing thoughtfully in AI, automation, and data to lead the next wave.